This video is not for persons under 21. It contains fringe and old people language you would not understand anyways. Deep in the heart of Texas, ancient plants whisper a new name for an old medicine. Tejahuasca, Texas ayahuasca. Desmanthus, mimosa, Passiflora, Nigella. This is not a trip, it's a homecoming. A step-by-step from soil to soul I have designed for you, dear viewer. A legal ayahuasca recipe from all-American sources. Let's begin. You'll want to start here with these abundant and common sources of MAOI and DMT. The Desmanthus illinoensis is found in many places, warm and wet, Texas lakes, pesticide pastures. I have mine growing in Blackland Prairie and Austin Chalk deciduous leaf litter. In the shade because the foliage stays small. We won't use that part anyways, so it only needs enough leaves to stay alive. Like a bonsai. They grow like weeds, then the snakes move in. Also, it will grow back from root each year, creating a complex and nodular root system. This one is about 5 years old, but will have many nodules. I stopped watering it a few months ago. The classic scent of DMT is enhanced when the plant has been stressed by dehydration. This is one large root nodule. Yup. This root nodule contains concentrated DMT, NN, and NMT, but we'll circle back. Next, we need Passiflora. Both incarnata and lutea grow in Texas. I use the leaves, dry and crumble. Simple. Passiflora contains Harmine alkaloids, which, all you need to know, work as MAOI. Now for the flavoring agent. A non-Texas native, but grows in all Texas zones all the same. Not necessary, but my special treat. They work in effect like an MAOI. From this plant we will use the seeds only. And finally, I suggest you choose a mimosa wildcard. I've selected Mimosa quadrivalus growing in Duck Creek Formation limestone. Many mimosa species contain chemical backbones that produce molecules which don't lock onto targeted receptors, but interact, flirt with, and support those receptors. Like how histamine allergy makes you sleepy, a cascade of mechanism of actions. I encourage you to experiment with mimosa species until you find the one that jives with your personal DNA. They contain MAOB, an increased half-life of DMT, preventing its breakdown and metabolism in the brain from extracellular sources. It also forces DMT to cluster at the 5-HT2A receptor. I mistakenly thought this plant contained DMT. However, it would seem that it prevents its breakdown of naturally occurring DMT in the brain and shows the DMT to the right receptor door. The DMT was already in me, and this plant allowed me to see it in a backdoor sort of way. Now that we have our plant material, the rest is easy. We make tea. While extracting DMT is illegal, concentrating it, etc., it is perfectly legal to brew a simple tea with these plants. I never use a whole plant in a tea. The leaves of some, seeds, and roots of others. Some city water is so acidic it rots teeth. You'll want alkaline or basic water for this recipe. It's healthier for you anyways. Walmart puts sodium bicarbonate in their water. We will too. Just a teaspoon or so. This will encourage alkaloids to be drawn out, and most of the material we're after is in alkaloid form. This is a good spot to talk legalities. Knowing is key. So, if you know, and you know that only you know, and you make it for the purpose of containing specifically DMT, that, my friends, a thought crime, and it's illegal. DMT thought crimes. This is not a concentrate. However, it's a balanced neuroprotective tea specifically formulated for synapse stimulation. A brain band-aid. One ingredient reduces inflammation, another supports blood supply to the brain, and it just so happens that you cannot get these effects from any other plants. And as you see, one of the ingredients just so happens to be NMDMT, and you cannot remove it without ruining all the good phytochemicals you were after. So it comes along, not very much, just over an official, documented trace in wild samples. And while there is no defined percentage data in older versus younger plants, I showed you the root structure of an old plant in loose soil and won't comment further. If you're like me and you don't have access to a lab or government funding, then you don't know Schrodinger. And not knowing, officially documented, is key. No acid-base extraction happening here. Okay, so here are all the phytochemicals and their cascade of mechanism of actions and, most importantly, interactions or synergies. Of these phytochemicals, I've highlighted the ones which support traditional ayahuasca recipe as per receptor goals. In layman's terms, the receptors that activate and the way that they activate need to be the same as traditional ayahuasca. The definition of legal ayahuasca as defined by the most recent 2024 study would be 100 milligrams of DMT reaching the brain to the 5-HT2A receptor. Per 2-cup serving, I'm unsure how much reaches your brain, but here's a look at all of the math involved in a 1.7 liter serving, and that just so happens to cross into official ayahuasca territory. So I stocked beans, cheese, and red meat a week in advance for safety. Speaking of safety, let's talk Grammy. It's the plant's neuroprotective defense that can cause respiratory failure, and it's an alkaloid formed by the same backbone of mechanisms that create both DMT and NMT. You can buy a test, but time is money, and so are tests. And this is Nature Blonde, home of the French. I can smell DMT, and I can taste Grammy. You can too. First, you just need purer sources. If you ever come upon some DMT, smell it, and you will find it has a distinctive scent. It smells like... Okay, so if you were standing inside of an antique store, and you opened a wooden armoire, inside was a small bottle labeled earwax, and you smelled it? That entire smell totaled is what DMT smells like. For Grammy, bite a few dried pieces of Desmanthus root. It's spicy. Some will turn your lips tingly and numb. It's a neurotoxin, and a tiny taste won't hurt you. It's a good and distinct, reliable indicator. Once you've sampled some, you become a pro. I say this because you will have to sample many, as wild Desmanthus naturally varies in alkaloid content, Gramine, NMT, and DMT. NMT is more earthy, but not soily or foresty, almost like a polypore wood conch or mushroom. Almost. I found surprisingly clean, low Gramine content in wet, previously pesticide fallow farmland. Never use root from here. I think the plant doesn't produce as many stress alkaloids because bugs aren't eating it, but that's for another deep dive. I use seeds, then taste test alkaloids in September, around the harvest moon. Now that I've said all this, there is another Desmanthus species which has decent DMT content and lower Gramine. The leptobolus, or prairie bundleflower. It grows low to the ground and seed pods don't curlicue up, but I get more DMT from the illinoensis, and it grows better in bulk for thinning purposes later. So maybe try both and see which grows for you. Keep it growing for a few years in loose soil. It'll grow these alkaloid-rich nodules, which, if grown in firm soil, peel right off when you pull it out and get left behind. Bo, hold your questions till the end, please. So the last thing we should discuss is bioavailability. Does it work? Yes. It reaches the targeted receptors, and I detailed how. Start small. What works for me may cause problems for someone else with different DNA. I don't have many allergies, and I'm very active. And I experiment with all sorts of plants. But I can assure you, it will reach your brain. Some sources suggest drinking the MAOI first, but I find with my method it is not necessary. You do not chug, you sip the 1.7 liters. It's a dump cake method, if you've ever made one of those, an all-in-one pot recipe. The MAOI is base stable, so it gets used only slightly first in your body. The base is a buffer for the DMT, which your body then has to convert back to DMT hydrochloride with your stomach acid to be bioavailable. It gives the MAOI a good stoplight head start. Yes, Bo, what is your question? No, you can't have any. You're a cat. You can't have any. Well, to recap, You source the seeds from 2 plants and root prop the other 2. They are perfectly legal to grow. Just please don't commit any DMT thought crimes so I can see you around the next dimension. Oh, and if you see Alfuko, our dimension-shifting, time-traveling DJ, don't tell him where you live. One final warning. This will benefit your brain. You will be able to learn better, focus better. It's a neuroprotective tea that promotes plasticity or new growth over time. New circuits, better memories. I can't take those things out of this tea, and I won't. So here's the recipe again. It's good for you. And yes, you should totally do something that is good for you. It's like a midlife reawakening. What does your free spirit look like?